All right, today we are going to dive into some seriously cool technology that lives right at the crossroads of farming and energy. It might just change how we think about both.
So let me just start with a question for you. What if the sun, the very thing that can scorch crops and push a farm to the absolute brink, what if that could be flipped and turned into its single greatest tool for success? That's the big idea we're digging into today. But look, to really get why a new solution like this is so important, we first have to understand what farmers are dealing with right now. And trust me, it's a perfect storm of challenges out there. To put it bluntly, farming today is just harder than it's ever been. The daily grind means trying to navigate this incredibly complex maze of environmental and, of course, economic pressures.
It pretty much boils down to these three big things. First, you've got climate volatility. We're talking about extreme heat that can literally bake crops right on the vine. Second, energy costs are just skyrocketing. Power for things like irrigation pumps and cooling systems is a huge expense. And third, there's this major problem with land use, forcing farmers into a tough choice. Do I use this acre to grow food or to generate energy?
So you might be thinking, well, don't farmers have tools to deal with this? And yeah, they do. But frankly, the tools they have are old school. They might solve one problem, but they usually end up ignoring or sometimes even creating other ones. And this really shows you the either-or trap farmers are stuck in. On one side, you've got your basic shade cloth. It's just a passive thing, a reoccurring cost, and it blocks all the sun, the good and the bad. Then on the other side, you could build a solar farm. Great for energy, sure, but that land is now completely out of the food-growing business. Neither of these is a truly integrated solution. So you've got this dilemma. You need a new way of thinking, an approach that doesn't force a choice but actually creates a synergy. And that, my friends, is where SunShade Links enters the picture. So what is it exactly? Well, think of it as an intelligent system of solar panels that sits right above the rows of crops. These panels can tilt to give the plant shade when it gets too hot, and then they can retract or even track the sun when the plants need more light, all while generating electricity the entire time.
And here's the absolute game changer. This system transforms shade from a dumb, passive expense, something you just buy and throw away, into a dynamic, smart asset that not only protects your crops, but actually generates revenue.
I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, doesn't it? But the mechanics behind it are just so clever and really practical. So let's break down how this thing actually thinks and acts out in the field. It all comes down to a really simple, elegant three-step loop: sense, analyze, and act. First, a whole network of sensors is constantly collecting data from the field. Then, a central brain analyzes all that info to figure out exactly what the crops need in that very moment. And finally, it acts, sending a signal to electric motors that move the panels into the perfect position. And when I say sense, I mean it's incredibly precise. We're not talking about a simple thermometer here. The system uses special sensors to measure the exact type of light that plants use for photosynthesis. Scientists call it PAR. It's also checking temperature, humidity, and even soil moisture. It gets this complete, real-time picture of what life is like for the plant. And all that data lets the system get really, really smart. It can operate in 4 totally different modes. You've got shade mode, where it protects the plants from that brutal afternoon sun. On cooler days, it'll switch to energy max mode, tracking the sun to make as much power as possible. Full sun mode pulls the panels back to let all the light through. And then there's harvest mode, which opens everything up so tractors can get in and out easily. It's total automated control. Okay, so that's the how, a super smart, dynamic system. But what's the so what? What does this all actually mean for a farmer's bottom line and for the health of their farm? Well, it all adds up to what you could call a triple win. This is where you really see the leap. I mean, look at the old options. Shade cloth, it's static, it's single use. Standard agrivoltaics, which is just a fancy term for solar panels over crops, is also static. There's no real-time brain there. But SunShade Links, it's the only one that's fully automated, with precise control over the microclimate, giving you truly optimized dual use of your land. It's not a compromise anymore. It's a genuine enhancement.
And that huge advantage leads directly to that triple win. Number 1, better crops because you're preventing heat stress and sun scald. Number 2, you're way more efficient with your resources, saving water and getting more out of every acre. And number 3,
You get energy independence, which means lower power bills and protection from blackouts. It directly attacks those three big pressures we talked about at the beginning. If there's just one number you take away from all this, let it be this one: 2x. By harvesting both food and energy from the exact same piece of land, you can effectively double that land's productivity. That is a massive shift in how we think about the value of farmland. This quote right here just nails it. It's not just about shade, and it's not just about solar. The magic ingredient, the real innovation, is the intelligent, adjustable system that links the two together. That's what makes all the difference. So what we have here is already a huge step forward. But what's really exciting is that this is just the beginning. This is a platform that's built to get even smarter, seeding all sorts of new possibilities for what a farm can even be. And the roadmap for this stuff is awesome. We're talking about adding AI and machine learning so the system can actually predict the weather and act before a heat wave hits. They're looking at designing the panels themselves to collect rainwater for irrigation, and even turning all that data it collects into a whole new service for farmers, giving them insights into their fields they've never had before. And all of this brings us to one final big question. We've seen how this can change a single farm. But if you zoom out, if you think about this at scale, could intelligent, dynamic systems like SunShade Links be one of the keys to building a more resilient, more sustainable, and way more productive global food system for all of us? It's a really powerful thought to end on.